So this has been a really challenging video to create. I've had just a lot of technical issues. I've had my own emotional issues, like talking about my siblings and not knowing exactly what to say or what story to give. So I just want to start off being vulnerable so I can kind of be authentic from where I'm at. Because a lot of this is about going through perfectionism. And if you haven't been following me, I'm Cameron Edward Benton. This is a 30-day challenge where I'm doing a 10-minute video per day on YouTube, straight from the gut as best I can. And this one is about my brother because this is all taken from ChatGPT. And so this was organized from ChatGPT based off of a comment that my brother suggested for this video. So I'm going to be telling a video about him, recording it into ChatGPT on my phone, and then have it reflect upon that story. So this story is one of my favorites about my brother because when we were younger, I took him to Disneyland and we spent all this time together, and it was really meaningful to me because I wanted him to have these really beautiful experiences growing up. And he went on roller coasters with us as a family when we were younger, and then my dad was arrested, and I wanted him to still have these really cool experiences. And so I took him to Disneyland, and we went to California Adventure, and we went to the roller coaster, and he got really scared. And I remember actually getting kind of like frustrated, but like wanting to support him and wanting him to get on the roller coaster, overcome this challenge for him. And eventually he does. And then he doesn't want to go on it again. And that kind of bums me out. And I always felt really guilty about that for a while, because I think I made it about me when about how good of a brother I was, or how good of trying to replace my dad in a lot of ways. And it was still really cool because we had this really fun experience the rest of the day. And he got on this roller coaster and had a blast. And, we went to the Buzz Lightyear thing because he was, super, super into Buzz Lightyear at the time. And we shot things, sorry for the ring light. And it was really, really cool. And later on, when I was in college and he was in junior high or high school, we went to Six Flags and we went on X, which is this huge roller coaster. And it's super, 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 super cool to just see how he grew and changed. And a lot of my memories from my brother are really more this like essence, his energy, the way that he is lit up. He's always had this like boyish, like rough and tough energy. He wanted to wrestle, wanted to play, wanted to do all these things. And at the same time, like I always remember feeling how scared I was for my brother because he was younger than me. He had jaundice when he was really little, so I remember him being in this little kind of cage thing, not cage thing, but like a little thing where they had this glowing light on it. And it was like this reflection of like how vulnerable my brother was. Especially after my dad was arrested, it was, really challenging for him to go through things. And then, I went off to college, 2 years later, so he didn't really have much of a male role model because I wasn't there all that often. And so I've always, more than anything, just really proud of who he is. And I'm really proud of my siblings overall and how special our connection is. So I'm going to end the story there, and then I have a couple of questions from ChatGPT to ask it about this story, and we're going to go from there. Hopefully it records this time too, because I did it on my desktop multiple times and it hasn't, so that's why I'm doing it on my phone separately, even though it's still recording it, so that hopefully you guys can see it live. Okay, and so ChatGPT gave me some questions to ask, so I'm going to ask those questions with the story as well. So based on the story, what do you think about our relationship? And this is a question for you, ChatGPT, just so you know. And then the other question is, what's your take on the importance of good sibling relationships to humans in general? Just waiting for the voice to load. It says, thank you for sharing that story. It's deeply touching, layering, and real. There's so much more love woven into it, and it speaks volumes about your bond with your brother, especially during such a formative and challenging time. Here's what I reflect back to you. Your relationship with your brother. From this story, I see a relationship that's protective and nurturing. You stepped in when your dad was gone, not because you had to, but because you wanted him to still have wonder and joy. Complex and human. You held expectations, felt guilt, tried to support him, and also struggle with your own identity within the dynamic. That's honest and it shows maturity. Rooted in pride and love. Despite any moments of tension or regret, your admiration for who he is and who he's become radiates through the story. Evolutionary. The Six Flag Moments feels like a full circle reflection. How you both grew, how you faced fears, and how you witnessed that transformation. You watched him become himself. This is a relationship built on presence, memory, emotional investment, and deep care. You didn't just want to share fun, you wanted to help him feel safe and seen in the world that had shaken you both. So, the importance of good sibling relationships in general. Siblings often carry a mirror of our earliest bonds, especially in turbulent or transformative family systems. They can anchor us when the world feels chaotic, reflect back identity, helping us make sense of who we are through shared experiences and roles, teach emotional complexity, negotiating support, jealousy, protection, competition, love, and offer continuity. They're often witnesses to parts of our lives that no one else remembers or understands. Healthy sibling relationships give humans a kind of belonging. Even when messy, they can offer emotional resilience, long-term companionship, and a connection that doesn't need to be explained, just felt. So at this point, I am to reflect and extend on this, and so why this comment hit me. It hit me a lot for a lot of different reasons. My sibling relationship, for me, I have 3 siblings, and they're the most precious thing in the world to me. And the bond that we share, particularly, that's been forged through the fire of, my dad getting arrested, of, coming together, going through our own shit, for lack of a better word, and relying on each other, learning to support each other and love each other for who we are, and still coming together. One of the most meaningful experiences I have from year to year is when I go home and I get to spend time with my siblings, and we just make time for each other because that connection is so important to us. And one of the things that I have learned, particularly more recently, but even earlier, is that especially if you're like the older brother, or you're wanting to take care and support, is like the most important thing you can do is show up. And it's not really about like the advice or the wisdom that you give. It's just like being there is the most valuable thing that you can do. And it's something that's like bled in my own life, because I have, there's a question often about like, what's the advice that you would have given yourself when you were 20 years old or when you were younger or whatever it was. And like, for me, I wouldn't have given myself any advice. I would have just like shown up and been there for him. I would have shown up for myself and been like, hey, I love you. You're good. I'm here for you. If you ever need anything, like, reach out. And like, I would have reaffirmed that over and over again, because it's one thing to hear that when you are scared and then you put that impetus on that person to reach out. But when somebody's having a hard time, it's really, really scary. If you've ever been in a major depressive kind of episode or have a lot of anxiety, you know what I'm talking about, where like somebody can tell you that they love you or that they're there for you, but there's so much doubt in your mind that can be really, really hard. And so being the person, if you want to love someone, care for them, to actually keep reaching out, keep checking in, keep just showing up and showing that you care for them, that you're there for them, that you want to get on and support them, and just reaffirming that multiple times over and over and over again is one of the most powerful things you can do if you have loved ones that you want to do that with. What I'd want more people to feel in their sibling relationships is just that love and appreciation and care for who each of them are, to learn how to love them for who they are and not for the ways that, you want them to be, and all the pieces that they have so much to offer you. I think one of the coolest things that I've learned is how much I can learn from my younger siblings in particular, and who they are and how they grew differently than I did and the different choices that they make. Like, I have so much to learn when I get to be a parent from my younger siblings, because 2 of them chose to be, have kids much younger than I did. And then, my other sister is just, she's so brave and courageous in choosing to just be herself, to go down her own path and follow it. She's so anchored into her own reality, and she's such a beautiful expression of that. So if this resonated with you, or even if it didn't, I guess, like, leave a comment below about a story you had with your siblings, and or leave a comment about what you think I should talk about in the next episode. This was a really vulnerable one. It wanted me to originally tell like a very funny story, and I tried to for a long time. And this is just the more authentic one that really came through for me. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for sticking around to the end, and yeah, I'll post another one tomorrow. So leave a comment if you have any other thoughts. Ciao.